I sunk to the bottom of the ocean to see the Titanic, and now people on TikTok make fun of me. Watch the entire video or else this will happen to you. My name is Hamish Harding. I am a billionaire and CEO of many companies. Me and many other multimillionaires set out a mission to go look at the Titanic that had sunk. Somewhere deep down in the Atlantic Ocean is where the Titanic is. The submarine submerged on Sunday morning to travel to the Titanic wreckage, which is 12,500 feet under the water. About an hour and 45 minutes later, our submarine lost contact with its surface ship, and we have officially been stranded. Rescue efforts look for us have intensified as we have very little oxygen left. We scream and shout and even bang on the submarine to see if anyone can hear us and help us. We have less than 24 hours left in oxygen on the submarine, and every minute that goes by is closer to our death. People on the internet, especially TikTok, make fun of us and are cracking jokes. Our lives are in danger. We need help. By the time you're watching this, the outcome of our lives could have already been determined. Don't ever take your life for granted. Even money won't save you from death.
Get your food! Who? Get it up! Hey. Get your food! Get your food!
So I just became aware that Shein took some influencers to their factory in China. If you've been following me for a while, you might remember when I was poisoned by Shein. This video had 4 million views, and it was before I understood the error of my ways. So fear not, I have learned my lesson. The product I used were these gold foils because I like to do my nails myself, except they melted into my skin like mercury would. Both of my arms went numb all the way up to the elbow, creeping up to my shoulder, and I had to go to the emergency room. Now, because the video did get 4 million views, Shein reached out to me. They learned about my story on TikTok and said no product is intended to cause harm. They started an investigation, and that's what I want to talk to you about today. They took the same product that I had bought and sent it to a factory, but it wasn't my product. It was just something that was already in their facility. This is a little blurry because of their security settings. I wasn't able to take a screenshot on my phone. I had to take another phone and take a picture of it. It was a whole... But this is their lab findings. There was lead. If you see right here, the maximum allowable limit is 5 mgs per kg for a lip and mouth product. That basically means that per kilogram, 5 milligrams of that are allowed to be lead. And we're putting that on our mouth. I'm so sorry it's so blurry, but if you see below, the deep golden nail color of the foil below is 9.1 mg per kg. That is well over the lead limit, even though there shouldn't even be a lead limit in cosmetic. But because this was for my nails and not for my lips, it passed, according to them. And the mercury levels, I could not fucking believe this, but the maximum allowable mg of mercury is 65 mg per kg. And that's for use in the area around your eyes. In the foils I was using, it was 0.05 of mercury. So according to them, it passed. According to my bill from the emergency room, it didn't. I can only imagine the horrific things that are happening to these workers in these factories. And afforded an extensive expose on Shein where they found the workers are working 18-hour days. And the chemicals they're exposed to with these products are incredibly toxic. But these influencers don't care. They jump at the opportunity to feel important. By the way, she has less followers than me. I don't know how she's an influencer, because I'm definitely not. I guess corporations would prefer people that would lie to the public. Regarding the clothes, after that video, I had lots of pictures from people showing me their naked bodies with rashes on them after they tried on Shein clothes. Please don't send me any more pictures like that, guys. I get it, but please spare me. This highly curated trip to the factories in China is very much giving the North Korean propaganda. When they know journalists are coming, these are the store layouts, and this is what North Korea will show those journalists, instead of the actual stores and the death camps. Now, from being an reporter in DC, this irked me so bad.
I was able to interview a woman that worked in the fabric cutting department, and you guys know me, she's an investigative journalist.
No, you're not. No, you're not. This girl is not an investigative journalist. Guys, please stop shopping at Shein. They don't care about you, they don't care about the workers, and they don't care about human rights. Just like every corporation, they care about making a buck. Follow for more tea.
Things I've dealt with as a Belfast bouncer. The scariest night we had on the door. So one night we've got two fellas outside the club and they've been arguing with each other non-stop for about an hour, so we're keeping an eye on them. A young fella walks past us out of the building onto the street. He's about maybe 20 years old. He's very slim. He's got fluffy hair. He's sort of the hipster type. And as he leaves, the two guys stop arguing and follow him. Me and my mate, we'll call him Pablo, we realised this kid was about to get robbed, so we ran after him. And Pablo, in his infinite wisdom, started waving his hands in the air and shouting at the top of his lungs,
"Mate, you forgot your ID, you forgot your ID."
And the kid, who didn't seem like he was drunk, and definitely hadn't forgot his ID, was now running away from us, looking over his shoulder, terrified because of these two men charging towards him. So I catch up with him and put my hand on his shoulder and I just said to him straight, "Don't listen to Pablo, Pablo's a fucking idiot. Come back to the door, those two guys across the street are about to jump you." And I told him, "We will sort you out with a lift home, don't worry about it." But no sooner had we walked back into the building that I noticed the rest of the door team sprinting off into the night. So we ran outside to see what the issue was, and the two guys that we were initially worried about jumping this kid had grabbed somebody else and were holding him against a fence and pulling things out of his pockets. So naturally, as all doormen do, because we're all balls no brains, we ran straight towards these two fellas, and just as we were about to reach them, someone shouted, "Knife!" We all did this little, skip hop, nearly stopped, but not quite stopped, as we were running towards these people at full speed. But I think we all had the same thought at that exact moment. Fuck it. Minimum wage is definitely worth getting stabbed for. And then all, probably 6 of us, ran full speed into these two people holding this nice man by the throat, like a bunch of overweight bowling balls striking down some poor pins. And suddenly we're all just rolling around, throwing punches and kicks at anything that fucking moves, including ourselves. Judging by the amount of black eyes afterwards, there was a lot of friendly fire, but all's fair in love and war, I suppose. These two guys then break free and they start sprinting down Fitzwilliam Avenue, with me and Pablo back in tow, chasing after them, like some kind of minimum wage overweight supermen. And behind us is our boss, screaming at us in his best Bournemouth accent, waving frantically, demanding that we come back, while he's also shouting into our police link radio, demanding Disneyland opens up and releases the hounds. A Land Rover rolls up and now there's peelers everywhere, as me and Pablo now are on our hands and knees, gasping for air, trying not to throw up our frickin' livers. And they caught them. The police caught them, or at least one of them. However, that fella we rescued put up a nice Facebook post thanking us, and I don't know if he knows that we seen it, but we did see it. And you're very welcome. I'm glad that you're okay. I hope you got your stuff back. I hope there was some form of justice. And if you ever see me on a night out, you owe me a fucking pint. Be safe.
What's up, TikTok? This your boy Gerald Jackson from the North Carolina Beat. A CPN queen in Charlotte has been arrested, and we the people want the feds to let her go. Word on the curb, the FBI in Charlotte done arrested a 23-year-old CPN queen named Shia Jackson. The feds say Miss Jackson is known to create mean documents for people to get inside of homes and cars and obtain PPP loans fraudulently. According to a federal indictment, Shia made more than $320,000 in these goddamn fraudulent documents, she was making under her business, Diva Documents. Police said that Shia fraud go all the way back to 2020 when she was making pay stubs, driver license, the paper one, and the hard copy. She making COVID-19 hardship letter. They said she was making social security card, W-2 paperwork, and lease agreements. According to the Fed's indictment, Shia advertised her business Diva Documents on Facebook. The Feds say she was telling people on social media that she can make any document that they need. They said Shia would charge $115 to edit a pay stub to $150 to get you a driver license, the hard copy. They said she would require her customers to pay half of the total amount up front and the other half once she has completed your documents or whatever fraudulent service you need from her. They said she provided PPP documents, car loan documents, apartment rental, whatever you need. Shia had you. The indictment further alleged that between January 2020 and August 2022, they said Shia created nearly 400 social security cards for people, 8 driver's licenses, and 6 COVID-19 vaccine cards. Shia is charged with 8 counts of unlawful production of false identification documents, 8 counts of illegal transfer of false identification documents, 1 count of wire fraud, and 1 count of making a false statement to a financial institution. The feds took Shia into custody Wednesday, and she remains in jail. And word on the street is, in Charlotte, is that Shia was really helping the people that, you know, had just got out of prison and needed somewhere to stay and get money in a car and help them get on their feet. So she wasn't doing no bad deed. She done pissed somebody off, or they didn't know how to use their CPN number. They done got mad and called the popos on her ass. Now she in jail without the bail. To read more about this story, go to theESCbeat.com.
It was supposed to be Shahzad and I going down, but then I stepped back and gave the space to Suleiman because he really wanted to go.
She was on board the Polar Prince, the ship that towed the Titan out to sea.
The sentence, we lost comm, I think that would be a sentence I would never want to hear in my life again.
Lost comms, all communication. That's the way her horrific ordeal began last Sunday.
I think I lost hope when we passed the 96 hours mark.
96 hours, the estimated time before oxygen would run out. But the U.S. Coast Guard says the sub suffered a catastrophic implosion.
That I really, really missed them.
19-year-old Suleiman was one of 5 people on board the vessel. He'd packed his Rubik's Cube. He was planning to break a world record.
9 seconds, yeah?
Yeah, but that's my best.
He said, I'm gonna solve the Rubik's Cube below sea at the Titanic. And he was so excited about this.
These are the Bonnie and Clyde death hats. These are the actual hats they were wearing when they were gunned down in 1934 in Louisiana. You can see the bullet holes still in Bonnie's hat. And in the back of Clyde's hat, you can see bullet holes. Just take a good look at that. I mean, this is history, and you can get so close to this and just take a look at it, and you can feel the history. In some cases, you can smell the history, but just absolutely phenomenal. And we'll keep going around Gangsterland. This is the Bonnie and Clyde movie car, not the actual car. The actual car is in Primm, Nevada at Whiskey Pete's. This is the car that was made by George Barris for the 1967 film starring Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway. And they actually shot holes in this car to make this as realistic as possible. Now take a good look at this. Now they did a really, really good job on creating this. Isn't that just fascinating? How cool is that?
Griselda's sister Angie's husband consoles and protects her as the court is shown crime scene photos of her sister and baby Dominic brutally injured bodies.
What's up, everybody? All right, you guys, so we know that sadly yesterday there was an update that they did find debris on the ocean's floor about 1,600 feet away from the Titanic. So they were able to link the debris to the OceanGate submersible, which lets us know that a catastrophic implosion did happen and all 5 people are dead. So what's so crazy about this entire situation is we're hearing now that the Navy might have heard something like a loud bang on Sunday. So, allegedly, they heard this loud bang right around the time that the mothership, which is the Polar Prince, lost connection to this submersible. So, they couldn't get contact with it, and right around that time is when the Navy heard the loud bang, which we now think is the implosion. Now, I'm going to insert a video to show you basically how they died and what took place. So experts are saying that they didn't suffer. They didn't even have enough time to process what was going on once this implosion took place. So the strange thing is, James Cameron, which is the director of the Titanic and somebody who does these deep dives and goes in submarines, and he has visited the Titanic. He's saying that he knew on Sunday that these people were dead and that he felt like this search and rescue was just a charade. So James Cameron is also saying that Stockton tried to get him to go on one of these voyages, but he declined because it just didn't seem safe. He's saying that many people begged Stockton to get certified because it just didn't seem right that you were taking people down there knowing that something could have been wrong with this submersible.
You cannot take people down. It's irresponsible. And it could lead to catastrophe. The following information. They were on descent. They were at 3,500 feet. They lost comms and tracking. The last one being the critical one. Because the transponder that's used to track a sub during descent and on the bottom is a fully autonomous system. It's in its own pressure housing and it has its own battery power. So for them to lose comms and tracking at the same time, sub was gone. There was no question in my mind. For days, I tried to run other scenarios that could account for it. I could come up with nothing.
So, y'all, this is a tragedy. My heart goes out to all the families, but my heart especially breaks for this 19-year-old. So the aunt of 19-year-old Suleiman, who was also on this submersible with his dad, she spoke out and she said that he was terrified. She's saying that he did not want to go, but the only reason why he went was because his father wanted him to go and it was Father's Day weekend. Y'all, he had cold feet. He did not want to do this. He had a really, really bad feeling about this and he lost his life, y'all. This is the saddest part ever. Y'all, I'm going to be completely honest with you. My thoughts are this. Stockton had a lot of stuff going on that a lot of people didn't know about. He had lawsuits. He had things dealing with fraud. It was a lot going on. I think something more is going to come out later.
Kevin Spacey is allegedly one of the worst pedophiles in American history. This story goes very deep and is very disturbing, so buckle up. So if you don't know who Kevin Spacey is, he's a very, very successful actor. I'm sure most of you recognize him. He's been in all sorts of movies and TV shows like the movie Seven, American Beauty, The Usual Suspects, and even TV shows like the massively popular House of Cards. This is a really sad case because I love so many of the movies that he's been in, but the story is just horrific. In fact, before his fall from grace, Kevin Spacey was one of the most awarded and respected actors in all of Hollywood. But good things don't always last forever in that town. All the legal trouble started for Kevin in 2017, when an actor named Anthony Rapp came forward and said that Spacey had assaulted him in 1986 at a party when he was 14 and Kevin Spacey was 26. Now, obviously, this is a major crime against a minor, but let me read you Kevin Spacey's response from Twitter. Kevin wrote on Twitter this, I'm going to read it, that he owed Rapp the sincerest apology for what had been deeply inappropriate drunken behavior. Basically, he was trying to just say that he was drunk. Oh, I touched a 14-year-old, I'm sorry. And while he was apologizing to Anthony, Kevin Spacey actually came out as gay. A lot of people thought that this was controversial. A number of celebrities spoke up about this because they believed that Kevin was trying to distract people from the allegations and focus more on him, painting himself more as a victim. People were also mad that he was blaming his sexual advance on a minor on him being drunk and that he was creating a bridge between homosexuality and child sex abuse. But this was only the beginning of Kevin's downfall. You see, after Anthony Rapp came forward, 15 other people came forward with similar allegations against Kevin Spacey. A Boston anchorwoman named Heather Unruh actually came forward as well and said that Kevin Spacey had sexually assaulted her own son. A number of actors reported that Kevin Spacey had assaulted them, and a lot of these people who were victims were from the Hollywood cycle, including 8 people who worked on the set of House of Cards. Newspapers across America were publishing stories about Kevin Spacey, and they were apparently getting flooded with reports that Kevin Spacey liked to grope young men. This is also important to note, Kevin Spacey was logged on Jeffrey Epstein's flight logs a number of times in the early 2000s. This is a proven fact, this is not a conspiracy, so what the hell was he doing on that plane? After all of this hit the news, Kevin Spacey was canceled so fully from every part of his life. His managers, agents, publicists, they all dropped him. The movies that he was involved with were canceled. The TV shows were canceled. And although you would think that he would have been in jail by now, he hasn't been. You see, something really strange about this case with Kevin Spacey is that a number of his accusers have gone missing or have died before the cases could be brought to trial. I don't know, something about this just really rubs me the wrong way. If you want me to talk more about the suspicious deaths, let me know in the comments. But currently Kevin is facing some charges in England. The trial is set to start very soon. And yeah, there's so much more to this story, but I couldn't fit it all into 3 minutes, so if you want another part, let me know.
Breaking news, there was an unknown male DNA found at the crime scene of the Idaho 4. Here's what the newly released document says. On December 17, 2022, lab analysis were aware of 2 additional male DNAs within the house where the deceased were located, and another unknown male DNA on a glove found outside of the residence on November 20th, 2022. To this date, the defense is unaware of what sort of testing, if any, was conducted on these samples other than an STR DNA profile. Further, these 3 separate and distinct male DNA profiles were not identified through CODIS, leading to the conclusion that the profiles do not belong to Mr. Kohberger. This information was received through the new objection to the state's motion for a protective order document filed by Bryan Kohberger's team. I'll keep you guys updated. What do you think? Drop in the comments.